Morning, guys. This is Sir Chauke. I'm a professional teacher for accounting, business studies, EMS, as well as research. If you're watching this, you're definitely at the right place. Please don't forget to hit that subscribe button down there. And once you're done with this, also leave your comments on the comment section. Tell us how you felt about the lesson. And also don't forget to share this lesson with your friends. Encourage them to also ensure that they watch this lesson so that their understanding of accounting can be improved. In this morning's lesson, we're going to look at year-end adjustments, and we're going to be focusing on prepaid expense. Before we go into the lesson, I'm going to just explain what does the word prepaid expense mean. Now, if we are saying something it is prepaid, it means we are saying that it was paid for before it can happen. For example, let's say I'm in March and I pay for water and electricity for April. April has not yet come, so I have not used that water and electricity. So therefore, it means that legally I have a right to go and claim that money that I've paid for that month, because I have not yet arrived in that month and I have not yet used that water and electricity. So to us as a business, prepaid expense, it is an asset because you have a legal claim over those you would have paid. Okay, now we are going to look at that in how does that affect our recordings in accounting. And remember, this time we are also going to do the income statement, so it's very important for us to understand these concepts and to know how we are supposed to treat them. Okay, so let's go to activity number 4. So here they're saying that record the following transactions in the general ledger and also the general journal. Now remember, when we speak about the general ledger, it is a T account. It is something like this. It has got the debit side and the credit side. That's something that you need to remember in terms of what you are required to do. And then remember, in the general journal, you are going to be telling us which account are we going to debit, which account are we going to credit, to be able to make this year end adjustment. So you must have an idea in terms of what to expect. So now here they've given us information. We have an extract from the pre-adjustment trial balance on 28 February 2009. Now remember, the word pre-adjustment, it means that this is before the adjustment was taken into consideration. So it means that this amount that you are seeing here has not taken into account the effects of the adjustment. So when we work it out, it means that at the end of the day, the advertising that is going to be paid is going to change. So that's what you must keep in mind. Okay, now we are also told here that our year ends on 28 February 2009, so which means it began on the next month, which is March, the 1st of March. But in terms of the year, because this year does not start in January, it will start in the previous year. So the previous year for 2009 is 2008. So we have 1 March 2008 to 28 February 2009. When you do your prepaid expense adjustments, it is very important for you to get your financial period intact, guys. It's very important for you to understand how your financial period will work. Okay, and here they're telling us that advertising includes an amount of 4,680 for an advertisement for 2 years, and this starts on the 1st of May 2008. Very important. If you look at this, you'll realize that our financial period is different from theirs. And they are already telling us that this thing was paid for 24 months. Remember, 24 months is 2 years. So now, I normally advise learners that when you start with this adjustment, if you have not yet gotten used to doing this on your own, what you can do when you are given something like this, you draw a timeline. Remember, we are going to start in March 2008. So we have March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, January, then February. Now, what we must remember is that when does their year end? Remember, their year started in May, so which means for us as a business, our year will end here. But for advertising, the year will end in April. Remember, it's going to be from here. It's going to be that their year is going to end in 30th of April. And this policy, we are starting to pay from here. Okay. I mean, this prepaid policy, we are this advertisement policy, we are starting to pay from here. Remember, this is not an insurance. So maybe what I will do to make more sense, I will change my pen color so that you guys can remember what I was talking about. So remember, in terms of this advertisement, our payment is starting from May 2008. But when we check this, we realize that our advertising is taking place 2 months after our financial period has started. So which means that it will end also 2 months after. So 2 months after will be for March. 2 months after will be March, and then also April. Now, if you look at this, this is outside our financial period. Hence, I've used a different pen. Now, we were actually supposed to pay advertising from May. So it's going to be May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February. We need to check how many months are this. These are the months that we were supposed to pay this advertising for. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So in other words, our advertising was supposed to be paid for 10 months. But remember, they said we paid for 2 years, and 2 years, we are talking about 24 months. So if you say 24, then you take your 24 months, you subtract 10, you subtract your 10, you are going to be left with 14. So this tells us that our advertising was paid in advance for 14 months. This is the amount for prepaid, but we don't know exactly what is the amount. So now if I say 4,608, then I multiply it by 14 divide by 24, it's going to give me my prepaid amount, which is 2,730. Remember, we said that 14 divide by 24 multiply by 4,680, and it gave us 2,780. This is the prepaid amount. So in other words, what we were supposed to pay for those 10 months that are within our financial period, we were supposed to pay it was supposed to be 4,680 minus 2,730. This is what we were supposed to pay. So that's what you must work out. Okay, so if we say 4,680 minus 2,730, it is giving us 1,950. So we are supposed to pay 1,950. This is what is supposed to be taken to the income statement. So when you do these things, you must be able to analyze very well. You must make sure that your analytical skills are very sound. Okay, you must make sure that when you interpret information, you interpret it in a way that it makes sense to you. So remember, now since we have interpreted our information, it will then be safe for us to just go there and record in our information. And remember here, guys, you are not required to do the general journal, but what you can do to get an idea of what you must do, remember, prepaid expense is an asset, so you are supposed to debit prepaid expense. Maybe let me find somewhere to write this. So you are supposed to debit prepaid expense, because remember, your prepaid expense becomes an asset, and then you are supposed to credit your advertising. This advertising must be reduced by that 2,730. Remember, you'd have your debit here, and then you also have your credit. Okay, so that we are debiting prepaid expense by 2,730, and then we are crediting advertising by 2,730. This is what you are supposed to do in the general journal, but it is not required. Remember, also the complexity of questions is also increasing. Hence, they did not ask you to do the general journal here. So remember, the end of the year is 28 February. Okay, let me do it like this. Remember, our end of the year is February 2009, right? So we're going to have February 2009, and then the day is the 28th. Very important for you guys to practice to write the dates. And remember, here we're going to write total payment, right? And we saw this in the CPJ. Remember, you pay for your advertising in the cash payment journal. The total that we've paid for advertising is 10,500. Now, remember we said that we must credit our advertising by 2,730. So we're going to credit it. Remember, this is the debit side. This is where your expense increases. This is where it decreases. If you remember debt click from my other lessons, it will help you to understand this. So what we must then do, we would say that for February 2009, on the 28th, would have our prepaid expense here, because remember, you cannot credit it advertising by advertising, so you must use the contra account. And remember, the amount was 2,708. But when we look at this, you can see that these two sides are not equal, and they are supposed to be equal because we must close this off. Remember, there's an expense, so we must close it off so that next month we can start afresh. So this side is the biggest, so we're going to have 10,500, and then also here have 10,500. Okay, now we need to know, remember, in terms of this advertising, guys, it speaks of different things that they do for advertising, right? This could be for something else. Okay, in this total, it could be for other things. Remember, when you advertise, you use different mediums of advertising, so we don't know exactly what are those things that were included. But what we know is that this 2,730 here is for, it's prepaid. So what we want to understand is the total, the advertising that is going to be taken to the income statement. And remember, from our prior lessons, I said that here you are going to have your profit and loss. So in other words, this is what is supposed to be recorded in the income statement. Okay, now let's check. If we say 10,500 minus 2,780, it is going to give us 7,770. So that 7,770 will come here. Our income statement will reveal this. When we go to the income statement, in the income statement, let me show you here. In the income statement, under operating expenses, would say that advertising. So our advertising will be displayed as 10,500 minus 2,780, and then it will give us that 7,770. That 7,770 will come here. That's what we are going to show in the income statement. And then under trade and other receivables, we are going to have prepaid expense as 2,780. So you must also understand how to show this in the balance sheet notes. Okay, now here we said that advertising has been credited by prepaid expense. So prepaid expense must also be debited then, but it must be debited by advertising. Okay, remember the date, it's February 2008, the 28th, and then our prepaid expense, this information is taken from the general journal. It is 2,708. So this is how you guys were supposed to complete this activity. So I really hope that when you watch this lesson, it will put more emphasis on whatever that might have been a challenge for you. Thank you guys for watching. Now, if you want me to assist your school with accounting, you are more than welcome to get in touch by using the contact details that are available at the description of this video, and we can definitely make sure that we arrange for that particular lesson. Thank you so much for watching. May God richly bless you. Shalom.